Hi everyone. Hey, today I am going to make some salmon cakes, and I just thought I'd videotape it as I go, just in case you're wanting to make something a little different too. I'm going to start off by baking my salmon in advance. I'm going to bake it, and then I'm going to put it in my refrigerator to cool until a little bit later. So let me show you my salmon. These are just some frozen salmon fillets. They are skinless, and I let these thaw out just on the kitchen counter. And once they thawed, I'm putting them on my baking sheet on some parchment paper, and I just sprinkled them with a little salt and pepper and garlic powder. And I'm going to bake these for about 15 minutes in a 400-degree oven. Okay, so I just chopped up my veggies that are going to be part of the salmon patties, or salmon cakes, whatever you call them in your house. This is just a fistful of green onions. I use the white part and the green part. This is 2 ribs of celery diced up, and almost 1 whole large red pepper, and 1 jalapeno pepper, and I did remove the seeds so it wouldn't be too darn hot. And then this is just a little mixture of some carrots and some red cabbage. And that's going to be my mixture. I'm going to be cooking this up more to an al dente texture, not all the way, because it's going to have further cooking. Okay, I'm just going to put that right in our hot pan. I don't use oil, but I do use just a slight spray of the, so it doesn't stick, a slight spray of the olive oil on the pan. Just gonna get it all in there real good. And like I said, you don't want to cook this for very long, because when you put your salmon cakes together and bake them, it is going to cook a little bit more than that. And just give that a good stir. And if it does start to stick, just add a little bit of water or vegetable broth, whichever you prefer. I'm going to turn my heat down to like a low medium, and I'll cover that and just let that cook for about 10 minutes. Okay, so my salmon is done, and it took just about 15 minutes, and so I pulled it out, and you can tell it's pretty well cooked, and that's what we want. Now we're going to let this cool down completely before we turn it into cakes. So while it's cooling, I'm just going to squeeze some fresh lemon juice over it. Just really gives it a good flavor. And actually, that's just half a lemon. Okay, it is time to assemble these things. This is the fun part. Well, actually, the fun part's when you get to eat them. But this isn't bad either. Now, I've taken the salmon and I've cooled it down really, really well in the refrigerator. Actually, it's been a couple hours, so, but the cooler they are, the easier they're going to be to flake. You just want to flake them up pretty fine. I just use my hands. It's the best tools I've got for this purpose. Simba must think it smells good. He's hanging right by my side. I'm figuring each one of these fillets is probably going to make like 2 salmon patties. So I've got 4 medium-sized fillets, so we should get, I would say, 7 or 8 salmon patties out of this by the time we add everything. Okay, now here is the vegetable mix that I'm adding to it. And I just sauteed these covered for about 10 minutes, so they're not completely done, but pretty close to it. And we're just going to dump those right in here. And I like a lot of vegetables in with my salmon patties, or you know, if you make these with crab too. Either way, I think a lot of vegetables really add to the flavor. So use whatever kind of vegetables you like. And then this is about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, or onion powder and garlic powder, half a teaspoon each. About a full teaspoon of Old Bay seasoning, which a crab cake would not be complete without that. And then just about a half a teaspoon of crushed chili pepper, just to give it a little extra zip. I'm just going to dump that right in there with it. Then I like to do just a squirt of the Worcester sauce. That's good, just about a teaspoon of that. And we'll do about a teaspoon or so of spicy brown mustard. And then salt and pepper to taste. Then I like to do the other half of that lemon. Just going to put that right in here. This is going to add some moisture. You need a little moisture in there to help hold it all together. And we're going to do 1 egg. And then on the breadcrumbs, and you can use whatever type of breadcrumbs you like, start off with about a half a cup. And then we'll get it to the consistency that we want it to be, and then you can always add more. And just get in there with your hands and really mix this up real good. I'm going to add just a little bit more breadcrumbs. I'm going to put 1 more egg in there just to really hold it together well. That will definitely do the trick. Oh yeah, that just changed the whole consistency there. You need to have a little bit of stickiness to hold it all together. If you don't eat eggs, I would suggest using flax eggs, just eggs that you make, or an egg-like substance that you make out of flaxseed, by just soaking a tablespoon of the flaxseed in warm water for about 10 to 15 minutes. And that gives a very similar texture like egg whites. Okay, we're just going to let that sit there for just a few minutes, and then we'll start patting them up. Okay, I'm just going to use a 1/4 cup just to get approximately the same size in each one so they're somewhat even. And just start patting these up. You know, you could make them really big I'm going to go with a little smaller size. I think they get a little crispier if you make them a little smaller. So if you're going to have a sandwich out of them, you could just even put 2 of them on your sandwich. So I should get more than 8 doing it this way, but we'll see. You can see all those vegetables in there really make it pretty. They give it a really good color and all those extra vitamins and nutrients in there. If you had one of those little hamburger patty maker things, that would do really well. I had one a long time ago that I really liked, and I lost it somewhere in our moves. And I bought another one. I think it was from Tupperware, but it just didn't work right, and I never used it. I ended up donating it. If you're going to be making these or baking these right away, I would go ahead and get your oven preheated to about 400 degrees. They're not going to take long. 15-20 minutes is about all it's going to take, just till they're good and crispy. So looks like we'll end up getting 8 medium-sized ones and then 2 that are just a little smaller. One of those will be for Simba. Now, a lot of people traditionally would fry these in a lot of hot oil on the stovetop. They taste great that way, don't get me wrong, but I don't generally cook with oil. The most you'll see me do is just spray a pan with a little spray olive oil just to keep things from sticking. But I really don't like that oil in my body. I just don't think it's good for you, and so I prefer not to cook that way. But by all means, if you do, you could certainly fry these. And that's really all there is to it. We're going to put these in at 400 degrees, and I will show you the finished product. And there it is. They are all cooked and crunchy and ready to go. I think that these are going to be absolutely delicious. In fact, I know they will be. Give it a try, guys. Easy to make.